Library marketing. It's sometimes a balancing act. There are things that your library wants to promote, and there are things that your community needs and wants from your library. How do you balance those two things? We're going to talk about that in this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Angela Hursh from superlibrarymarketing.com. You can head there and look for the Library Marketing Show tab to ask a question for a future episode of the show, or nominate your library or another library doing great work in marketing for Kudos. We will give away Kudos a little later. First, if you have not yet already, subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on LinkedIn so that you never miss an episode of the show. All right, it's a new year, and because it's a new year, I've been thinking about strategy and approach and what we're going to do in 2024 as libraries. And one big area of conflict I've noticed is a library strategic plan, and then what the community wants and needs. You would think that those two things would be aligned all the time, but they are not. Sometimes, especially if you're not in senior leadership and you are just doing the promotions for your library, you may find that those two things are in conflict. So I wanted to give you a couple of tips for trying to find the balance between building things that your cardholders and community needs versus working on your library's overall vision. The first big thing you need to do is market research. There is not very much of this going on in the library world today. I would like to recommend any presentation or book by Mark Aaron Polger. He talks a lot about market research and library marketing. He is a long-term expert in library marketing and market research. I'm going to put a link down in the show description or the comments on LinkedIn if you're watching there, to a podcast that an interview he did on the Library Marketing for Library Marketers podcast, where he talked about market research. We need to really dive deeply into what our community needs and what they're looking for from the library. And those things are things that you're going to want to put into your editorial calendar for 2024. You can also use social media to do market research. There are lots of ways to do this. The goal really is to gain a very deep understanding of what your community needs from you. And then, kind of related to that, we often ask for feedback or through surveys or what have you from our community. And I'm not sure that many libraries really prioritize that feedback. If your community is telling you they want or need something, that's something that your library needs to pay attention to, and it's something you should be working into your library marketing. Now, you also have your strategic plan. Think of that as a vision or a guide for your library, but it is not necessarily something that is set in stone, and that's the only thing that you need to be promoting or marketing for your library. Use that as a guide. Of course, it's aligned with your mission, vision, and values, which you can also market and promote, talk about in your marketing. But that is your guide for what you're going to do in the year. But I still want you to be a bit flexible with your marketing, because your community members change. We have no idea what's going to happen in 2024. Could you have seen the pandemic in 2020 coming? Absolutely not. We all did what we had to do and were flexible to respond to the needs of the community and that situation. So during what I would call normal times, we also need to keep that same agility and flexibility. Do marketing and promotions that are part of your strategic plan, but also for things that your community wants and needs. Was that helpful to you at all? And do you have any more advice for my viewers about how to balance between your strategic plan and your vision of your library and then what your community needs? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. All right, it's time for Kudos. And Kudos today is going to the Des Moines Public Library. I'm going to put a link down below for an article that was in the Des Moines Register. And I'm not sure how the Des Moines Register found out about this story, but it is all about an 11-year-old girl with autism who found the confidence to speak with library books. So it sounds like the library did its own marketing and promotions and used the story of this girl as a patron as hero storytelling example. If you are in my presentation for the CSLP Summer Symposium, you heard all about storytelling. It looks to me like the library did a patron as hero story, and then the newspaper picked it up and expanded on it. That is a great result. That gets the Des Moines Library exposure to a whole new audience who may not have been into the library in who knows how long. Great work, Des Moines Public Library. Kudos to you. That's it for today's episode, but I have lots more tips on my channel for library marketing. So if you want to keep learning, click on this next video and I will see you there.